I believe that our ultimate experience in living begins with God and family.
At Harold One, I'm Ted Jervis, and this is ZNS.
The Rundown is brought to you by Commonwealth Brewery Limited. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's great to have you with us for another week. Well, 2 months into 2025, and violence continues to be a concern for residents here in the capital. But the Royal Bahamas Police Force assures that it is on top of things. This past weekend, though, was troubling for one community here in New Providence, as a young man was killed right in front of his young daughter. A harrowing ordeal for any family. Tonight, well, we'll tell you more about that story and what the police is doing about it. We begin, though, with this report from Corval Pyfrom, who was at the scene of the crime on Dunmore Street this past Saturday.
Distraught relatives and shocked residents all looked on in horror this morning as a man described by many as a decent person who never troubled anyone lie dead. The country's latest murder victim. His family identify him as 24-year-old Quintero Arnett. From the surveillance footage, you see the moments 3 armed gunmen approached Arnett, who at the time was at this Dunmore Street eatery with his girlfriend and young daughter. They opened fire, and in moments, Arnett, who tried desperately to get away, was dead.
What we know, preliminary reports indicates that the victim was at a local establishment when a light-colored Japanese vehicle passed, pulled up. Male occupants exited the vehicle and opened fire on the victim, shooting him fatally.
Arlene Anderson knew the victim and says he was a devoted father, a boat captain, and a mechanic. She, too, is heartbroken by what has happened.
I think that when we get to this kind of a point, it's simply because people are not ascribing to finding love, finding reconciliation, looking to conflict resolution. We find every other alternative but allowing love to win. And I think it's the result of what we see this morning.
This latest incident coming on the heels of a fatal shooting in Montel Heights Thursday night that claimed the life of a 19-year-old man. Police insist they are relentless in their pursuit of criminals wreaking havoc.
However, criminal elements will be out there and they will have their motives of how they move about. But I can tell you we have dedicated and committed officers patrolling every single community within the Bahamas.
Now, police tell us they are following significant leads. Also, they're being aided by CCTV cameras, which are all over this area, so they hope that they can bring this matter to a resolve very shortly. Still, though, they are asking for the public's assistance. If you have any information that can assist them, to come forward or contact them at 911, 919, or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corval Pyfrom.
Now, at this morning's office of the Prime Minister's weekly press briefing, Police Commissioner Shanton Knowles responded to reports that Saturday's shooting victim was not the intended target, but someone on bail for murder. Though still early in the investigations, the Commissioner shared this much with the media.
We've heard that, but we have not confirmed that at this point. When we are able to confirm that that person was not the intended target, and we feel the need to bring that to the community, we will certainly do so. But we are talking with the family to see what information we can get as it relates to him. Again, we have not confirmed that information. Our officers from the homicide section are working this case along with all the other open cases to ensure that we can bring them to quick and speedily close, but that we can get people before the courts for them.
Meantime, National Security Minister Munro this morning also lamented that we got where we are together. Getting out requires the same effort. And this against the backdrop of 2 recent incidents posted on social media. Again, Saturday's fatal shooting on Dunmore Street, and weeks earlier, another on Cooper's Terrace off Camp Road. Disrupting crime and its challenges, the minister reminded, goes beyond policing.
Every life is precious. It is not enough to talk about what the police are or are not doing. What the church is or is not doing, what the government is or is not doing. In this effort, there are basically three types of persons. There are persons who are part of the problem. There are persons who are part of the solution. And then there are persons who are voyeurs, who just simply sit and watch. Bahamas, you have to determine which of those groups you will be a part of.
The government also looking at further beefing up the police force with the recruit of a squad of 100.
Retain officers of the rank of corporal and sergeant who retire beginning if they are recruited at the age of 18. They begin to retire at 43 to 55. We are also aggressively recruiting young persons. I would not in this forum disclose what is the manpower deficit that the Royal Bahamas Police Force faces for obvious reasons. I would only say that the failure to aggressively recruit between 2017 and 2021 has us in a position that's less than ideal.
National Security Minister Wayne Munro. I want to talk right here. This is where our conversation begins tonight, right? Let's have a heart-to-heart talk, just you and I. Because this issue of crime has been around for so long, and we're trying to find the solution. And it seems almost impossible to be able to figure out what is the solution. Consecutive administrations are challenged. Every administration for the past 25 years, should we say, is challenged with crime. And I'm wondering if we are understanding really what's going on in our country and what needs to happen to win the war. Here I said, win. That means there is the ability to beat this. There is the ability to defeat this. The reality is we're not short on programs. Scores of programs. For the past quarter of a century, there are lots of programs out there to address crime. So we're not void of programs, we're not lacking programs. The police force has been upfront in their fight against crime. They've been there for decades. They continue to be there. Yes, they're challenged on some fronts with issues, but by and large, the police is out there doing their job. So we have programs. We have the police on the front line. Governments, so consecutive governments, have tackled this issue, coming up with solutions that each administration believes is the key to addressing it. Whether it's urban renewal, whether it's community policing, whether it's school policing, they've come up with reforms. Legislation has been passed to bring criminals to justice for crime. So that's there. Why then are we still challenged or struggling? I submit to you tonight that perhaps we're not talking about the real critical issue, and we've moved away from what we truly believe in our values, and that is our faith. Our faith has been what has, over years, given people the conscience to do what is right, and in the absence of doing what is right, the conscience that says, I am not proud of doing wrong. The conscience that says, I am respectful of the church and faith, even if I'm doing wrong. The conscience that says, my children need to be in church, I need to be in a godly environment so that they grow up with morals and principles. And we're talking about everything that we believe is a solution to crime. If you looked on the weekend on social media, there were so many reasons, so many suggestions of what to do. And very few people pinpoint and hit on the head how we've moved from the values that we grew up on as a Bahamian people. We've been infiltrated with television, infiltrated with habits from the North, infiltrated with things going on in society that have changed who we are as a people. When you look at that video, and I'm sure you saw the video because it was circulating, and you saw that young child really, by an act of God and miracles, was able to escape bullets that sprayed her father. You knew that God was protecting her, right? But aside from that, what kind of bringing up would cause those men, next to they look young, those young men to stand over a human being and spray him with bullets until he no longer moved? Only could be somebody who was void of an upbringing on principles that taught the value of life. No program, no government intervention, no corporal punishment, nothing can change a person's mind from committing heinous crimes like that unless there is a conscience of right and wrong and the value of human life. So the answer no one wants to hear is the answer I give tonight. We need to get back to our faith. We need to get back to the things that caused us to have a conscience about the way we acted and the way we lived. No reforms can change that. No administration can change that. No police plan can change that. Because no one can get in the minds of someone when they are contemplating doing something that's wrong, other than a conscience. And that's the only thing that's going to change the minds of these young people that we see out there committing violent crimes without a conscience. So I say, let's get back to our faith as a Bahamian people that gave us some moral compass as to how we should live. And we won't see children being placed in those environments because we would nurture and shelter and care for and love our children because that's the values that we were brought up on. I was born in the 70s. My parents made sure I had to go to church. All around me, my classmates in school, they went to church on Sundays. And so even though there was wrongdoings, and even though people might have tried sneaking wrong here, sneaking wrong there was always a conscience that said, that ain't right. And so you were afraid to go and get involved in violent crimes or things that were wrong because your conscience and your teaching and your upbringing and the community that came together to ensure that you lived positively frowned on it. But today we don't frown on it, we laugh at it. We turn our eyes to it because we don't want to accept the fact of what our children are involved in. We play death to it because we don't want to face the consequences and reality of what our children are doing. And all we're doing is breeding a society after society that's caught up in violent crimes because there is no more conscience. And yeah, I hear people talk about, oh, the church ain't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Oh, yeah, the church need to get it together. And the reality is we always like to pass judgment on everybody else. But the truth is, not every church is corrupt. Not every Christian person is involved in immorality. There are people who are standing for morality and taking a stand on what is right. And we have to celebrate those people and look for guidance for those people and send our children to those people and go ourselves to those people because we want a better society. That's not escaping anybody's role or responsibility. Yes, the police has to stay on it. Yes, government has to lead initiatives. But we as a people have to take accountability for the life we lead and get back to our faith. Hats off to those community projects, those people who are taking a stand tonight for what is right. We have to change our society so that we don't just become emotional when we see what happened on Saturday and by 4 days later, we're over it and we ain't calling for nothing. Everybody was calling for change. Now today, it's Monday, people are back to normal. We cannot easily forget that this is a result of a country and a society that we have breathed because of the way we have been living. And it's time for us to get back to the basics. Tonight, we hear directly from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Commissioner, Shanta Knowles. She's here. You're going to hear her plans for the police force, tackling crime, and how she feels serving as the first female police commissioner. There's also been some success. Crime, believe it or not, has slowed. We're going to talk about the success there. You don't want to miss that interview. It happens right here in the Rundown, right after the break. Stay with us.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
It's time to grow your church. Time to extend your message to all the islands in the Bahamas, into the Turks and Caicos Islands, and to the world via the ZNS app and website. It's time to broadcast your church's services on ZNS TV. To help you with that, ZNS has some exciting new packages with very good prices. It's time to call 502-3813 for details.
For the past 34 years, Shanta Emily Knowles has made law enforcement her life. The proud rock sound of Wems's Bight, a Luther native, was inspired to become a police officer at the age of 15 when she met the first female gazetted officer, Mrs. Allardyce Strawn. Now, she served in various departments, including the Southern Division, Crime Prevention Office, and, of course, the Criminal Investigation Department. Last year, she was appointed as the Assistant Police Commissioner responsible for the Northern Bahamas, and on January 3rd of this year, Ms. Knowles became the first female and 10th Bahamian Commissioner of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. And indeed, we're so happy that Commissioner Knowles fits us in her busy schedule to join us tonight. Commissioner, welcome to the Rundown. So good to have you.
Thank you very much. It certainly is a pleasure to be here.
Let me congratulate you, because we get so caught up in the work that you're doing that we never say thank you and congratulations for being able to ascend to this top post and being able to carry the weight of it. People who are in leadership understand that it gets heavy and it gets lonely.
It certainly does.
But you've already started out strong and doing well, so congratulations for that.
Thank you very much.
I want to get into our conversation because there's so much I want to talk about tonight regarding the police force and your leadership that you bring to it. But I think it's so important to springboard off of what we did in the last segment with talking about the independent bills that were brought by the government to Parliament last week, and indeed what that means, being able to give teeth to what needs to happen in the police force. First of all, with these bills enforced, will that strengthen the law enforcement agency, the police force, and strengthen your ability to ensure integrity and to ensure that officers do their work with that kind of uprightness?
I think it certainly would strengthen our police force, the officers in our police force, to give the best service that they possibly can with the highest regard to integrity. For a long time, we've been hearing about corrupt behavior in our organization and, of course, in other organizations. And we've been dealing with those complaints that come to us. We are not afraid to deal with them, but certainly a bill such as this one would, I think, also allay the fears of members of the public who believe that we can't police our own. But if they look at the record, they will see that we've certainly been, for many years, policing our own when it comes to corruption. But this bill will certainly enhance their confidence in our police force.
I want to put it in context for the Bahamian people, because sometimes when something major happens, it overshadows everything that's going on, and we believe, oh, the police force all kind of corruption. You know, you hear people say, but government officials, maybe one incident, all of a sudden the entire government is corrupt. Put it into context for me with the police force. Is corruption a major concern or an issue on the police force?
Well, it is always a concern. We don't want to hear that our officers are corrupt, certainly. But is it a major issue where 90% of our officers are corrupt? No, certainly not. Our officers, we have some decent officers who are totally committed to ensuring that they can police our communities with high professional standards, with their integrity intact. And so while we are always concerned that one bad apple will spoil our bunch, we're not afraid to deal with that bad apple. But there are so many good, decent officers out there who are truly committed to policing our country.
You worked and then led the Criminal Investigations Department. During your tenure there, were you concerned about the integrity of police officers in investigations?
At that time, no, I certainly was not. I saw the commitment of the officers. I made sure that the resources, and of course through the Commissioner of Police at that time, the resources that they needed were in place for them to complete their assignments. So no, certainly did not have any concern that there was corruption seeping into our organization, and especially into that department.
You are weeks into your leadership role as a police force. And the reality is, we feel a difference. Now, people may ascribe it to you. People may say, well, it's just a changing of times. Whatever it is, bottom line is, you know, you take the bad, you got to take the good. There is a change in the environment, in the atmosphere. Things seem to have quieted down. What's leading to that? Is there some new implementation? What is causing it to look as if though things are slowed?
Well, I do believe that the good Lord is blessing us with this good period where things are certainly slow. However, I also contribute some of this to the work of the officers in our organization. I have mandated that our officers increase their patrols. Saturation patrols, their mobile patrols, and certainly get out and walk our communities. I believe that when members of the public see us and have an opportunity to come in close contact with us and have a conversation with us, good things happen. And so some of the good things that you're seeing happen is because there is increased police presence on our streets in our communities.
What about detection? Are we seeing that a lot of the crime that has been committed, particularly serious crimes, you can almost kind of track and see that there's connection either in gang activity or in retaliation killing? Were a lot of the killings giving you that kind of scenario?
Most of the homicides that occurred last year, and I think in previous years, was as a result of retaliation and conflict resolution. The good thing about it is that we have a very good detection rate. I think last year was 68% detection rate in all of the homicides that occur. And so it tells us that we're getting the job done. Of course, we want prevention to be the main focus here. And so we're hoping that we can reach the people in the community to talk about conflict resolution, to encourage especially young people, to reach out to those who we believe in our community, leaders in our community who could help us with challenges that we have, anger management and all of that sort of stuff that lead to these kinds of crimes being committed.
I talked about the retaliation and gang killings. Are there other trends that you've seen that have been leading to crimes that we've been seeing?
So far this year, we are pleased with our numbers. We don't want to talk and celebrate too much because we know that we could be kind of superstitious at times and say we're celebrating a little bit too quick and things will happen, yes? But we are pleased with what we're seeing. One of the challenges that we're facing right now is the increase in stolen vehicles. That is one of the biggest challenges. But I want to say thanks to my officers because they are working furiously to crack these stolen vehicle rings that are in New Providence. As soon as we capture one ring, we notice that there is an increase in another area. And so our resources are being stretched all across New Providence so that we can prevent these vehicles from being stolen. But we also want to say to members of the public, especially those who have vehicles such as the Nissan March and the Notes, we notice that those ones are being stolen very frequently now. We're asking them to find or to invest in tools that can help them to secure their vehicles a little bit better for us. I think not make it so easy for them to be stolen.
I heard that there's some serious technology now where people are even using equipment they're buying offline to be able to manufacture keys and unlock vehicles and so forth. So they're getting very sophisticated in their methods and breaking into vehicles.
And so that is why we need to encourage members of the public, those who own vehicles like that, to also become sophisticated and buy devices that can slow down their progress in stealing their vehicles.
I want to talk about some of the things that we're seeing as far as the priority crimes that you want to monitor. You talked about stolen vehicles and so forth. What about crimes against person? How is that trending?
Well, those numbers are down right now, and we're hoping that it stay that way. And so that is why we are in the communities, through our urban renewal project and community policing initiatives, to see how best we can get people to understand the importance of resolving their conflicts before they become criminal. Their actions become criminal.
Are we seeing that a lot of these cases are people who are familiar to each other, or is it the stranger?
No, a lot of crimes against persons are incidents where people know each other and for some reason just are not able to resolve their conflicts.
When we talk about crimes like unlawful sexual intercourse, armed robberies, even murders, what are the challenges you're facing with these kinds of crimes and being able to detect and even prevent?
Well, it's difficult to know the minds of those who would be criminals. Certainly, we can't tell you what's in someone's mind and how they will act. And that's why we try to get the message of prevention out. I've heard a statement that we are concerned about the increase in sexual assaults being reported. I don't like to hear the word that I'm concerned about the increase in sexual assaults, because I applaud those women or those people who are victims of sexual assault for their bravery to come forward and report them. We know that there are so many people who are, we suspect that there are lots of people who are sexually assaulted or abused, but don't have the strength to come forward and report them. So concern is a little bit out of there for me. I like to say that I'm pleased that I can see people finding the courage to come forward and ask for help so that we can help them, we can find those who perpetrate these crimes, and we can get assistance for victims of crimes such as these.
You've done a number of operations. Has those operations been successful in helping you to put this dent that we see in crime?
Oh, yes, sir, certainly. Right now, our Black Scorpion operation is in full effect, being led by Chief Superintendent Woods and his team of officers and Assistant Commissioner Roberta Goodman. And we're seeing that those operations, those stop and search operations, you'd be surprised to know what we come across when we suspect a vehicle, stop that vehicle, and what we get from that vehicle. Lots of unlicensed and illegal firearms and dangerous drugs. And so those operations are in full effect, and we're seeing good results from them.
I want to be able to get into talking about firearms because I keep telling people we don't produce them in the Bahamas. So somehow they're getting here. And no matter how many efforts police raise over the years in taking them off the streets, more seem to be getting there. Are we any closer to being able to crack these smuggling rings?
It is difficult, especially the layout of our country, that we can crack these smuggling. It's truly difficult. But we've seen over the years where illegal firearms are coming in through courier companies. They're coming in through vessels that somehow evade customs inspection and those kinds of ways. So it is difficult, but we are up for the challenge, and the Anti-Gang and Firearms Task Force is working. We are in partnership with Customs and Immigration officers in that task force. Our intelligence officers are on the ground, and of course we are working with our U.S. partners to see how best we can crack these rings.
Are we seeing some signs of success in doing it? Have we been able to interdict people who are smuggling in, or is it still a ways off?
Well, we have in the past been successful in collecting, I think last year we were able to confiscate 14 firearms that came in through the process.
Wow.
And the U.S. On their end were able to stop 4 firearms from coming into our country. So we do see success in our efforts to prevent these weapons from coming into our country.
When we look at gun smuggling and gun activity, are you able to kind of put the pieces together when you see a firearm that's used in an incident, in a criminal event? Do you have the ballistics and the intelligence to be able to detect, and trace where that has gone, where that has been, who may have had it?
So with our U.S. partners, we are able to trace firearms from time of purchase to time of crime, and we've had some success with that. You know about our ballistics capabilities here at the forensic lab here at police headquarters. But so to answer your question, yes, we have seen success in firearms that we have confiscated from our streets and was able to trace it back from time of crime to time of purchase in the U.S.
All right,
and that is because of the good working relationship we have with the ATF agents in the U.S.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about an issue that we seem, particularly in the media, to see often, and that is missing persons. A lot of people showing up missing, but then being reported as being found. What is going on with these young people? And then I want to talk about the crime plan and how we're detecting and crime on family violence. We'll talk about that when we come back. You're watching The Rundown with the Commissioner of Police. We're back right after this. Stay close.
Hey, Josie. Hey, honey. You got no message for me yet? Can I tell you why I get no money? At least not yet. I get my money. Managers. Oh, and I done upload it.
Hello, Miss Daisy. Your check is ready.
Thanks. I come for that little thing. You got it?
Money managers, responsible lenders for responsible people.
Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, we have been in Exuma now for the past 4 years, carrying out our paving program. A part of our company's philosophy is to do some work to international standards. So when you look at our paving division, we have a state-of-the-art lab to do all of our testing in-house, as well as a state-of-the-art asphalt plant with a trained technician carrying out the work on that site. The overarching goal of our company is to produce the work that we're doing in the entire Bahamas to international standards. We also make a difference by the training of our staff. We have a very intensive training program going on to where we are teaching young men how to learn the art of striping. Being a young man myself, I've made mistakes in the past. I was given a second chance to better my life, and it's only fitting that we pass it along. What's important for us is giving them a second chance for them to get a skill and a career that could take them further in life.
This year, your best year yet. Education is the key to success, and the University of the West Indies Global Campus Bahamas is your partner in success. Take a course that increases your value in a matter of weeks, or get that degree you've been dreaming of with convenient online learning. Visit us at global.uwi.edu/Bahamas, call 323-6593, or WhatsApp 456-6687 today.
Blessings gonna find me.
Welcome back. My guest tonight is the Commissioner of Police, Shanton Knowles, talking about crime, the challenges that we see in crime, and of course the success that we've been seeing, and of course keeping our hearts and our minds prayed. I'm not going to say our fingers crossed, because we don't believe this is luck. We believe this is a divine intervention, that we're seeing things trend in the right direction. But I want to talk about missing persons, because we saw the use of the Marcos alert, and being told now that we don't wait that long period of time anymore. If somebody's reported missing, we send out the alert. And then people started saying, yes, that's a good way, because these people can't be serious. And then the alerts started going off frequent, and people were like, okay, hold on now. You got to send out every time somebody missing. But that's the reality. What is your intelligence telling you? Because in the media, we get the bulletin saying so-and-so is missing, and then before you can even put it out, in a matter of hours, you get a bulletin saying discontinue, the person has been found, or the person's returned. And then we do notice that some bulletins say missing, some bulletins say runaways. What is going on?
Well, if you look at our statistics for last year, you will see that we had just over 300 missing persons reports, some of which were classified as runaways. And we've seen a lot of runaways this year. And so, but we've also seen where they have returned home or we have located them. I'll tell you that through our CCTV program platform, we were able to recover or locate a young girl who had run away from home.
Wow.
And so we know that technology is working for us in that vein. But when we find or we locate these young people, especially those who run away, we realize that there are issues within the home. And it is at that point that we get social services involved or another agency that can offer counseling to the family members to see how best they can resolve their issues in their home before these, especially young girls, go missing again.
There must be a lot of issues stemming from unstable homes in the communities that are causing a lot of these triggered actions. It now means, like you say, that police are not just police officers. You become counselors, you become interventionists, trying to address social ills in community. How are you able to do that, given the fact that it may not necessarily be in your training as a police officer?
The thing is, I think we have a good cadre of officers in our sexual offenses and missing persons section, or missing and exploited persons section, who understand that this is not just a job, but a calling for them, many of them. And so they take this kind of personal that they want to bring relief to those who complain. And so they go the extra effort. They go the extra mile to ensure that they can comfort those who are grieving, who are concerned, and find some way to assist families that are in need of counseling, especially for these young children who we find are running away or, of course, going missing.
You talked about the fact that there are issues at home. What are some of the issues that are causing these young ladies to leave home?
I'll tell you that what we've seen recently is that they're being rebellious. They don't want to listen to their parents, and that is the message that we must get across to our children. But we got to train them first in the way that they ought to be, so that when they are old enough, they won't depart from the training, yes? But children have a responsibility also to obey their parents, because it's the right thing to do. And so we find that it's a lot of rebellious teenagers out there who for some reason don't want to do chores in the house. There's one particular young girl who just did not want to wash dishes, and because of her being scolded, she left home. She ran away.
Wow.
And so it's things like that. But we encourage parents to stay strong, to continue to be parents first, but to, of course, to work with their children to see how best we can get them on the right track.
The police always send out an appeal to the public for assistance. in any crime, any information, and you have something, come forward, call 919, call crime tipsters, all these things. Have you been seeing that kind of support and cooperation with the public? I mean, there used to be a big thing in the past. Then people got a little hostile and say, we ain't working with the police. Police ain't our friends. But are you seeing that kind of community support again?
Oh, certainly. I don't think the support has ever stopped for us. There are always those who will say that they are not supporting, but they certainly do support. Yeah. We get lots of support from members of the public. Just recently, and I can just give you just a little bit of what I got from the project that has happened in Angleton. And it happened, the survey happened just after this corruption incident happened with our officers. People in Angleton said that they still trusted the police and were willing to work with the police. So that tells you that we got the support of the people out there. And so we continue to ask for the support. We continue to say thank you to members of the public who support us and encourage those who have some resolve in doing so to come on board. We cannot fight crime alone. This is something that everyone has to have a stake in.
Let's talk about our Family Islands. So while there might be heavy criminal activity there, how is policing on our Family Islands, and what are some of the challenges you face on the islands?
Policing on the Family Island is the same, the officers are required to give the very same professional service that they give here in New Providence to those on the Family Islands. The people deserve that professional service. And so there is no different. They are expected to get out into those communities and meet with the people to hear their concerns and address their concerns, whether they are major concerns or minor ones. And so we are not seeing any challenges, and thank God, in our Family Islands, but we have I think every island has professional officers who are prepared, willing, ready, and able to address any challenge that may arise on those islands.
Are we having issues with visitors? We're our major economic activity is tourism. That means we're going to be entertaining thousands, millions every year of visitors from around the world. Do we have challenges with visitors following the law?
No, no challenges. No. I'll tell you that we got, like you say, we have millions of visitors that come to our shores, our beautiful islands. While there are some who we find who come to us because of breaking the law, it is not. I don't want to give you a number, but I thought about it just recently, and I was like, I don't think it's more than 100 that we see per year, and that's taking it very far. Of course, things happen. There are arrests made with our tourists. We put them before the courts just like we would anyone else who disobey the law, but is it a huge amount of them that come here and commit crimes? No.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. Let's talk about your policing plan. What are some of the standouts that you would like to see done under your leadership in policing?
Well, certainly I would like to see the fear of crime decrease, because I think the fear of crime is even higher than the crime itself.
Really?
Yeah, I think people are just afraid because of what they've heard and afraid to go into our beautiful communities. And so I wish that we can get out into the public, into our communities, even more than we're doing right now, to allay the fears of the people in our communities, that we do have safe communities here in New Providence, that they can go out and enjoy the beauty of our island and islands. But certainly I will be expanding more on that as I release the policing plan for 2025. We are still in the development phase of that. It has not reached to the minister to get to the cabinet as yet, and once that happens, you will see more of that.
Obviously, some of the other aspects of the work, of course, officers want to know what's happening with police promotions. How are you going about police promotions? There's always been a concern as to somebody always feels overlooked. Is it a political move? Does it have to go and be approved by politicians? What do you say to your officers who are wondering, how are you going to handle police promotions?
I think in my speech, if I can remember correctly, I said that promotions will be based on your work ethics, your merits. And so promotion is not promised to anyone. anyone. And certainly time in the job certainly does not qualify you for a promotion. So you can have 20 years and someone with 15 years be promoted or elevated above you. That does not, because you have 20 years, does not give you entitlement to be promoted. There is a process for promotion, and we will follow the process for promotion. And that is work ethics. Your experience certainly will count. Your work ethics will play a major role in promotions.
Let's talk about recruitment. Anything you want to do differently to attract the kind of officers that you intend should be police officers in the Royal Bahamas Police Force? Now, I always tell people, we say you got to get better police officers, but I keep on telling them, police officers come from the community. And if you give us bad people, that's what you're going to have is bad people. How do you find that officer that you said, yes, that's a good quality right there of a police officer? How do you find that in a society where people just want to get paid but don't really want to work?
Well, we are certainly in the recruitment phase right now. We're hoping that by the 1st of May, we can have 200 recruits in training. Wow. And so the process has begun. The last commissioner, the former commissioner, has talked about the vetting process, and us putting those names into the newspaper so that we can get feedback from the community. The vetting process that we are used to will continue, but we do believe that members of the public, not just the close family members and friends, would give us the information. We believe that others in the community now who can see the listing would be able to share with us that Clint is not a good boy. Right. Don't mind what his mommy say. There's some issues you may need to look at. And so we do intend to legally post those names of persons who wish to be recruits to see that we get the best. There is no room for those who wish to just come here for a paycheck. There is work to be done. I expect that we will get the work done, and so there will be no sitting around waiting for a payday. You will work for your pay.
How has your relationship been with the Staff Association? I know there are a number of concerns they always have regarding police officers. How has that been?
So far, I have not met with the chairman of the Staff Association, but there has no issues have come to my desk as yet. And so I hope that the chairman, Mr. Walks, would eventually make it to my office so that we can sit down and discuss whatever issues he may have, especially with our officers, how we can best serve our officers or increase the support to our officers. But at this point, no concerns have come to my desk as yet.
When one looks at the police force, we see automatically people in uniform who are fighting crime. Recently, I had the opportunity to recognize a lot more than that when we were celebrating women in law enforcement. And on this show, we had women from a variety of careers in the police force, and it just blew my mind of the smart and the intelligence and the qualification of people who work for the Royal Bahamas Police Force, from everywhere from attorneys to forensic scientists to business people to technology-driven people. Talk a little bit about who is really a part of the Royal Bahamas Police Force.
Certainly all those people that you talk about just now, they are a part of our organization. And that is what we're also selling to those who wish to be a part of the organization, that there are professional careers. So it's not just walking the beat. There are forensic scientists. I'll tell you one, Sharia King, Chief Superintendent, who is my press officer, who I've chosen to be my press officer. She is a scientist, a well-qualified woman, and I think so far is doing an excellent job with the media. But we have these specialized areas, and we are targeting people in the community to work in these specialized areas. But that does not downplay the other areas, our frontline officers, because they are just as important, and their professionalism, their education is just as important to giving service to the people in our community.
We're going to go and take our break, and when we come back in our final segment, we're going to do something a bit unorthodox. You've been very polished and professional talking about the Commissioner of Police. I want to talk about you. how you're handling the job, and how you're handling people who may criticize, people who may praise, and the fact that the most obvious, you're a woman. We'll get down a little more personal when we come right back. Stay with us. We're back after this.
Hey, Josie. Hey, honey. You got no message for me yet? Can I tell you why I get no money? At least not yet. I get by money. Managers. Oh, and I done upload it.
Hello, Miss Daisy. Your check is ready.
Thanks. I come for that little thing. You got it?
Money managers, responsible lenders for responsible people.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
This year, your best year yet. Education is the key to success, and the University of the West Indies Global Campus Bahamas is your partner in success. Take a course that increases your value in a matter of weeks, or get that degree you've been dreaming of with convenient online learning. Visit us at global.uwi.edu/Bahamas, call 323-6593, or WhatsApp 456-6687 today.
Blessings gonna find me.
Welcome back to the Rundown. We've been having a very interesting discussion with the Commissioner of Police, Chantal Knowles, on her role. And we've been talking about the police force, her goals, what she's hoping to see done, the success we've been having in reducing crime, some of the methods have been implemented. In this segment, I want to talk a little bit more about Chantal Knowles, not the Commissioner of Police, but Chantal Knowles. And obviously, you came in at a time where there needed to be a role filled. Were you even expecting this to happen? Because for all of us, we were all like, okay, this is happening very quickly. One day we knew the commissioner had resigned. Next day we knew the PM was appointed. You were in Grand Mama, and then we saw you coming in Nassau, and then boom, it had just happened. Take me through that. Take me back to that week. What was that world? Was it like a whirlwind week for you?
It certainly was. I was not expecting it. Of course, we all work for and hope that we can achieve great success in any employment that we take on. Mm-hmm. I certainly did not have that in mind on that particular week. It happened. I happened to have gotten to my desk in Nassau, in Grand Bahama, just shortly after 8 a.m. and I got a call from the commissioner. And he said, can you be in Nassau immediately? I said, well, no, I can't come immediately as the 2 flights have already left, right. But I can come on the midday flight. Is there concern? He says, no, you need to come to Nassau immediately and come straight to my office. I said, well, I can be in Nassau by 1:30.
So you didn't know why you're coming to Nassau?
No, my instructions were to come to Nassau and come to see the Commissioner of Police.
So you stood on a whole plane ride, and you were sitting there...
Well, no, because by the time I got to the airport in Grand Bahama...
Things started leaking out.
I was seeing stuff, and so I was like, okay, this is probably what this is all about.
Seeing stuff? What do you mean you're seeing
social
stuff?
Media. Social media is powerful. And
I'm telling you. Because, you know, they don't wait on nothing. So you saw the speculation, and so you figured...
And by the time I got to police headquarters, I saw a video of me walking through the airport.
So you knew at that point, okay, this is
that I'm
what's
going to see
on.
The commissioner, there's something going on.
And when you went and saw him, it was confirmed?
He said, you need to go with me to the Prime Minister. We went to the Prime Minister's office. We had a conversation. I accepted, and here we are today.
And it just happened like that? You didn't pack up and get here?
Yes, immediately.
For a woman, what did that do for you? As a woman, you're now thinking, okay, you know, we know the police force is. It's, you know, it can be a big institution where there's a lot of egos, a lot of men profiling for power and so forth. How has that been for you?
I have not seen anything to suggest that I'm not getting the support as Commissioner of Police. Gender is out the window right now. I'm the Commissioner of Police. And so I do have a wonderful team of executive leaders who are certainly supporting me, and the commanders who I've now as you know, of course, again, through social media, that we have shuffled the deck, so to speak. And so I'm seeing the support from all officers right now. I think the morale of the police force has risen.
You think is it risen?
I think so, yes. And of course, you could see that in the work that is being produced. But to tell you that there are challenges with me being Commissioner of Police, no, I don't see any of that at this point.
You said something very important. You shuffled the deck.
I did.
Why was that important for you?
It is important that we put people, well, every commissioner believes that they can put people in positions where those people can truly reach their potential and maximize the goals of our organization. And I thought it fitting that I do the same. Let me try people in these areas so that I can get the professional service that I require from these officers, from commanding officers, and I am seeing the good results.
That's bold. And the reason why I say that is because whenever you touch Bahamians in their comfort zone, they tend to sometimes respond a certain way. And you had to go in and make changes. People may have liked it, and people may have criticized it. Some people will say, well, what do you think she's doing? What gave you the level of comfort and boldness to feel that I'm going to do this and I'm going to make sure it produces results?
No office in the Royal Bahamas Police Force is anyone's personal office. We signed up to police the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And especially during promotion time, we hear if the commissioner, I serve at the commissioner's pleasure, and if the commissioner wants me to work in Inagua, I will go. Well, this was the opportunity. And so I needed people to work in specific areas, and I made the change. There has been no pushback from them. I don't expect that there will be pushback from them. We have a job to do. Let's get out there and show that we are leaders, are good leaders, professional leaders, and that we can work in any area of this organization that the commissioner so chooses to put you.
As individual leaders, we always try to, especially when we go into a new job, it's so easy to get burnt out trying to make so much changes. Do you have personal parameters that you've set for yourself that, no, I'm not going to work 18 hours a day. No, I'm going to cut off at a certain time. I'm still going to deal with family time. And have you prioritized these things and say, I'm going to stick to them? Or is it just right now, I'm just going to go, and get it all done?
I think I will answer you very, very honestly. No, I have not prioritized my time, my personal time as yet. I am getting rest. I am finding time for my family, but I think my family understands the role that I am in and that I'm here to serve the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So I'm not turning down requests. I'm not answering telephone calls. I am doing all of that because people want to hear, and there are people out there who are concerned or who have concerns. We must address them. I must find ways for others in my organization to address them. And so I believe that shortly I will get to that point where I can say that I'm not going to work 18 hours. But policing is a 24-hour job.
It's like journalism.
It certainly
never
is.
Off. Do you have this added pressure that I guess I must be, as a commissioner of police, stern and tough and hard on people? You know, we have this thing with law enforcement and females that we think that there's this overcompensation, right? You come into the airport and you're looking at how much male customs officers on and which one you go into because the women can search your bags because of this fear that they're going to overcompensate. Do you find that you have the need to feel you have to overcompensate?
No, not at all. And I certainly, I'm not doing so. I promise that I will not use my office to intimidate anyone who works under my leadership. And I try to be as accommodating to every officer. Of course, there is a rank structure, and I expect that officers will reach me, but through the rank structure. But do I turn them down? No. Will I be fair and firm? Certainly, I will be fair and firm because we have an organization to enhance. We have people out there who we want to now gain the trust of the people again. And so this is not a game. This is work. This is true work for me, and the work is to make sure that the Bahamian people are satisfied with our performance and that the crime level and the fear of crime is down in our communities.
My final question is simply this. What kind of legacy are you building to leave? What do you want people to know Shanta Knowles as when they think about commissioners of police?
That she was simply a fair person. That's it. Fair in all her dealings, honest and true in all her dealings. And I believe that that is the best legacy that anyone could ask for.
Wow. Commissioner, it's certainly been a pleasure talking with you and just really getting to know who you are and really the work is that you're doing. Thank you so much. You have our full support.
Thank you very much.
And all the best.
It certainly is a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. That does it for the Rundown tonight. We want to remind you to tune into the Rundown this Wednesday, February 26th, live from the Chamber of Commerce in Rock Sound in Eleuthera. I'm going to Eleuthera. That's your place. I'm going to Eleuthera. That starts exactly at 8 p.m. right here on the ZNS TV 13. And be sure to stay locked on the ZNS network for the Bahamas tonight at 11. It's a final newscast in the country with the latest news and information with Royston Jones. He's in the building getting ready for the 11 o'clock news. Follow us here at ZNS News. I'm Clint Watson. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
At Fort Montague, I'm Opal Roach. This is ZNS.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.